We're back, part 2 of this 2019 F350 Lariat. We're gonna pick up right where we left off. So we took out the trim, the sub, the amp, the toolkit, and we're gonna work on these the front trims over here, headliner, do the rest of the sun visors, and yeah, we still got to take the doors off, get this carpet cleaned up and out of here, get the dash out. Well, first we have to get rid of that annoying glass, see how much of the dash survived, hopefully all of it, and get it out, and then we can go ahead and lift the cab and get the engine like we always do. So yeah, let's get it. So finally got the glass out of our way, and I gotta say, I think this is the worst windshield we've ever had. It fell apart in a million different pieces. Got some sunglasses though. Now we're working on the carpet, gonna vacuum it up like always, and then we're gonna do the dash next. And I think the dash, on the King Ranch video, I kind of went over the dash, but maybe I'll do a little more detail on this one. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, things aren't moving that quick because it's so cold out here for us. We're from Washington, we're not used to it being 35, 32 degrees midday, so for us, this is cold. So, because this carpet was so wet, it froze to the truck because it's been cold, like 25, 28 at night. And we ended up ripping the carpet. Yeah, this thing is probably going to just be thrown away now at this point. It was not the best carpet to begin with, so not losing too much, but yeah, that sucked. Yeah, you can see all the little pieces we ripped up from it being frozen because it was so wet. If you guys watched that King Ranch video, you probably saw us do the dash, but I'm gonna just do a quick refresher on this truck. So this side, you want to pop off the vents. There's 2 bolts here, and there's 1 down here, and then you pop off this cover over here, and there's 2 bolts down in there. We'll show you guys as we go, but usually we like to start by taking the wheel out first to get it out of our way and also make the dash lighter. So we're gonna go ahead and do that first. Luckily this year, way easier to do everything than the 11 to, well, just the airbag primarily is the hard thing on the 11 to 16. These have holes right here, and it's a lot easier to pop this airbag out. And then we'll show you guys how all this works. Oh, it looks like this was a no adaptive cruise, no steering assist truck, but it had all the other options. So what we do first is pop that trim around the steering column out first. There's 3 little bolts under there, and then it's pretty easy to get off. And then there's a top piece too. And then next, that panel right there, you got to get that off. So now with this metal piece gone, now you can see you have better access to the column. You're gonna want to get that bolt right there, and there's one on the other side like it. And then you're gonna go in the engine bay and get that bolt for the steering column as well. Oh, also I forgot to mention, you got to disconnect all the wiring from the steering column. The shifter cable, there's a bolt right there that we disconnected. You see that hole? Forgot to mention that is a shifter cable there too. So here we got it out and just wanted to show you guys. So this right here is where the star bits were, the Torx. And then there's 2 213s right here. And then you disconnect down there in the steering, in the engine bay. Pretty much it. Pretty easy. And then we'll do the airbag and the steering wheel after. Sell all that separately. And then for this dash, we're gonna put this metal piece back, put this back, and I think we're gonna just try to sell this dash. Sometimes we like to part them out because people want parts off these, but I think we're gonna keep this one complete for now, and we'll see how it goes. Got it pulled back now. Disconnect all the wiring and get it out of here. I didn't really go over the rest of what you do to the dash, but 2 bolts here, 2 bolts on top, these come off. And then on the side, there's bolts here like I showed you on this side, and then on that side, same thing. And then there's a few bolts in the middle for some middle supports. And that's it, it comes out. It's honestly not that hard to do a dash once you've already done it a bunch like we did. And you can take it out complete, just unhook all the wiring and you can take it out complete. Okay, so we got the dash out. Everything went pretty smooth. We're gonna go ahead and actually leave the harness in here until later, because last time with the King Ranch we tried it that way and we liked it that way better because it's a little easier to get to all the wiring once the cab is off. And we're gonna go ahead and take off the doors. You might be asking, why would we even bother to take these off? We're literally just trying to get them out of our way so they don't mess us up when we lift the cab with the forklift. And we are gonna still rob some parts off these doors, like door handles, some harnesses, maybe a window, and then we have a separate aluminum scrap over there and we're just gonna throw them in there. So yeah, let's go ahead and start with the doors. So I'm pretty sure I've already showed you guys how these doors come off, but I'm just gonna go over it real quick one more time. There's just a bolt here, you get this bolt off, and then the hardest part is the wiring. You want to get this cover off, and then there's tabs on the bottom and the top. In the King Ranch video, I think it's part 3 or 4, I talk about how we get these doors off if you want to look at those. So yeah, let's get it. doors off. Now we're finally ready to continue working on the front end engine, get everything ready for this cab to come off. And this time I didn't go as in detail in the interior on this one because it's kind of boring. You guys already saw some of it, but this time on this one I'll go into a little more detail on what we specifically take off in the engine bay and like how the cab comes off too. Some of the stuff we already took off, like the intake battery box, but there's still stuff on this side we're gonna take off. Back working on the engine. We got the fan shroud off. We already got this side off earlier in the video. Now we're working on this side, and I told you guys I'm gonna go into a little more detail of exactly how we prep to pull the cab. So you don't need to do all these things to pull the cab. This is what we do because we strip these trucks down anyways. So this is what we do. We remove the whole front end. Because a lot of people, when they lift the cab, they do engine work, they leave the front end off, but we take the whole front end off right away. We like to see what's going on here, if there's any damage, anything going on. We like to spin the engine over by hand just to see, make sure it feels good. And then on the left, we remove the battery box, intake, and then shrouds, and then we focus on the right, and then we're gonna remove the intercooler, the charge pipes, do the battery box, and the reservoir. This one's broken, so definitely gonna take those off. We'll go and start doing the smaller stuff, like there's a ground cable here, the AC lines to the AC compressor. There's some coolant lines because these have a different water pump, 17 through 19. There's a power steering line over there, and then we'll go on this side, unhook all this wiring from the ECU, unhook some wiring over here. And then on the other side, I'll show you when we get farther in what we do there. Okay, so we got this side removed. I can now show you a little more about what we do. All these plugs over here need to be unplugged too when we remove the cab. And then the steering, well, the steering we already removed, but that needs to be removed too usually. And then the fuel lines. And there's somewhere right there, there's a ground cable and some more coolant lines and the power steering hard line right there. Update on the progress. You actually don't have to touch the fuel lines to take the cab off. We're gonna do those later. This side's all done, everything's unplugged. AC lines, the ground cable, and then there's a battery cable in here that needs to be undone. This one right here that goes up it. And then, yeah, these cooler, the water pump lines. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the engine side of things. Next, we'll do the cab bolts and we'll start getting it ready to pull. We got everything ready. We're just working on this power steering line, this cooler out of our way. These lines are pretty annoying, but yeah, pretty much everything I went over, that's what we did. If I missed anything, I'm sorry, but it's pretty simple. There's a little more once we get the cab off to get the engine out, but that's pretty much it. And then we're gonna do the 8. So there's 8 cab bolts. We're gonna try our best to show you them this time. The first 2 are really obvious and easy. They're right here. There's one there. And then it goes 2, 3, 4, and then same thing on the other side. So here we go. We're gonna try the first cab bolt. No heat.